everybody. Good afternoon. Pat Zemer here, CEO of MagnaWave, inviting you into my office for a little visit today. Just sit around and chat if you'd like to. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask me, just feel free to do that. We have the MagnaWave Office Hours every Tuesday, 9 in the morning, and then again at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to answer any questions you may have about MagnaWave, our machines, our training, our certification, protocols, session, guidelines, whatever it may be. I'm here to answer those questions. If I can answer the question, I'll find someone who can answer it for us, be that a veterinarian, a doctor, chiropractor, whatever the situation may be, to get you the answers you want when it comes to PEMF therapy and how it may be beneficial to your wellness. We don't really treat any indications. We don't treat any conditions. We basically provide sessions to the body, energy supplementation as a result of pulsed electromagnetic field therapy to allow the body to be in a better position to heal itself. And so that's primarily what we do. It can be, I always say that if the body's blood is well oxygenated and healthy and flowing properly, a lot of miracles can occur, and a lot of various issues that we deal with in our wellness and in our bodies can be addressed positively. So that's pretty much what how I kind of look at things. If you would be so kind, if you're watching me today, I'm glad that you're here. Give me a thumbs up, say hello. I'd be happy to hear from you, or potentially share this with your friends so if they have any questions, they can ask their questions that they may have. So let me come over and take a look here what we've got. If you would like to call in, you can do that. Simply go to 502-599-9722 and we can visit on the phone. If you want to have a conversation about something, happy to do that at that time. If you have a question for our office with regard to machines or whatever it may be, feel free to call the office at 502-742-7868, and we'll get you with the right person, whether it's the training person, Aaron here at the office, or sales, or Stephanie in customer service, Lee. Anybody's here to help you in any way that you need to have help. A lot of horse background there, a lot of small animal background, and of course human background if we can answer any of those questions. If you have a question and you would like to email it to me, send it to magnawave1@gmail.com and I'll be able to answer those questions. A lot of times people want to ask a question, but they don't want to have their name associated with it when they put a question in the Facebook chat. So if that's not a problem, put your questions in Facebook chat and we'll be happy, as I say, happy to answer them, or send them to magnawave1@gmail.com. You can also text if you'd like to text a question to us. Just text it to 502-271-8400. We don't want you to not have a way to communicate. Now, if you're on your phone and it's easy to text, send me a text. If you want to send an email, send it to MagnaWave1. If you want to call me, pick up the phone and give me a ring, and we'll visit on the phone and answer any questions that you may have. We've had some questions that I was not able to get to totally this morning, and some other questions that have come in, so I want to try to get to those as we go here this morning. One of the questions we received, and we did talk a little bit this morning about the FDA, but one of the questions is there FDA approval for migraines? Well, I believe that the TMS machine, transmagnetic stimulation, is anxiety, autism, and I believe they also fall in the area of migraines. Very effective. Our devices are used all the time for people with migraines, but that's not something that we are FDA approved for. Our devices are actually not yet FDA approved. They're considered off-the-shelf, non-invasive wellness devices, and that's how they are used. But I believe that migraines the treatment of migraines is covered with a device with the FDA. There are a lot of approvals from the FDA or clearances from the FDA for the PEMF modality. And so that's just goes to answer that question. So if you have another question, just let me know. Hi, Susie. Thank you for joining us today. We're glad that you're with us. Excuse me. So that kind of takes care of that question. And then there was another question that came up this morning: peroneus, tertius, tertius, if you will. It's the tendon and muscle area that connects in a horse, connects the stifle and the hock, so they move together in concert. And in a person, that would be the knee and leg of the upper leg. So things work, the knee and the leg and the ankle work in concert, so you can move well. And so quite often in a horse, they'll get stuck in something and all of a sudden stress that, and so the hock and the stifle, the question was dealing with horses, do not work in concert, and you can have a rupture of the area that causes a problem. Well, so with a rupture, you have inflammation. It's certainly going to require stall rest, and however the veterinarian would work on it, or your doctor would work on your area. But there is swelling, there is pain, and so MagnaWave can go a long way to aid the reduction of the inflammation, the relief of pain, the oxygenation of the blood to better set the body up to heal itself, to help the healing process along. So do we have a specific application of that? Well, certainly over the years, treating a lot of different things with horses, and people have certainly probably dealt with that, but is there a set protocol? No. As we often talk about with our protocols, just put it on and treat it. Put it on and do it comfortably, and get it to help the healing process along. So that's a couple of very good questions. If you have a question, simply put it in the chat box, send me a text, send an email, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Let me see here. Another question: a person was thinking about opening their own business, and they want to get the certification and the training, and they want to know the benefits for their horses and their clients, and they want to know what machine would be best for them. And there's a lot of different ways to go there. We have machines. Our smaller machine is the Semi, and we go up to the Max. It's the Semi, the Wave Pro, the Pulse Pro, the Maya, and then the Max. The Max machine and the Pulse Pro machines are spark chamber devices, and the Semi, Wave Pro, and the Maya are digital devices. You don't have to spend $30,000 to $40,000 to get a digital device like some of our competitors have. I'm not saying that our competitors don't have good devices. I'm just saying you don't have to spend that amount of money to get the good reliability and ease of operation and controllability of a digital device. We have the digital devices starting in the $7,000 range, and they're very effective. The primary difference when you talk about differences in prices and how things are power-wise, the primary difference would be in some indications your treatment times might be a little longer when you use some of the lesser expensive machines, or the lesser cost, however to say that, the less expensive machines. Your treatment times might be a little longer as compared to the Pulse Pro or the Max devices or the Maya device. For standard treatment, if you just want to put it on your back or put it on a shoulder and treat for 10 minutes, the result would be very, very similar regardless of what machine you're using, because even if you're using the Max, you're probably not going to turn it up all the way. It gets uncomfortable after you get to yourself as you get to a certain height or a certain intensity of the signal. So any machine, to answer this person's question, we have people that are operating businesses very successfully with the Semi device and providing services that they feel appropriate in treating the horses accordingly, or the small animals or the people. The larger machines with more power just simply give you a little more versatility with the speed of what you're doing. But in terms of supplying the body with the energy to relieve inflammation and take away pain, they will all do that. So I kind of tell somebody it's a budgetary decision. Everybody can't go out and buy the most expensive or the most flipped out, tricked out car that they're going to buy, or the machine that they want to use for their business that they might want to use for their clients. So it's a budgetary consideration. No matter which one you choose, there is a place for you, and you can work in virtually any market that you want to. Is it the same as the tricked out version? No, but will it work? Yes. And so that's a great question. Where should I start? And we've had a lot of people that have started with the Semi, for example, and moved up to the Max or moved up to a Maya. We have some practitioners who have all three. They have the semi machine, the Maya machine, and the Max machine, and they really covers their bases on what they're doing. We're seeing a lot of people who, if they start small and go larger as a variable in what they do, then they'll use the smaller machine as a rental device for someone to take home or someone to use for a few days to work with various types of conditions and or issues and situations. Or some people have started with the Max and added a Pulse Pro or added the Wave Pro or the Semi as part of their arsenal of for the same purposes that they then have something that's very flexible that they can rent to people and or if it's something that doesn't require all the versatility or speed or high power of the Max Maya or Pulse Pro, they can get good results with the Semi machine or the whichever machine they're using. Let's see, we got a question coming up here. Let me pull it up and take a look at it here. All right, the question, can you trade in a machine if you would like to upgrade later? Well, we haven't done a lot of that, but there are ways to move in that direction. We've had some people, as I was just saying, more people keep a machine and have a second machine to give them versatility, but certainly if you want to upgrade, we're certainly happy to talk to you and help you get the best value for your trade-in or your upgrade and get you into the other machines that may better suit your business at a particular point in time. So Jessica, great question, and we certainly work with you on those cases at that point. Let's see, I think we have another question. Let's see, from Idlauer, Semi and Maya works great for me. So there she has both of the devices, the Semi and the Maya. And it allows you to not only do with the Maya, you can operate two attachments at one time, but with the Semi, you can do two horses at the same place, or you can do two areas of the horse, however you want to do it, and really be able to get the strength and mobility that you're looking for when you use these devices. Great questions. Thank you for the comments. Let me see if there's any other questions. Maureen, hello. Thanks for being with us. We're glad everybody is here. And so let's see. All right. Any other questions at this time? I'd be happy to answer them. Just throw them in the chat box or send me an email. Let's see if we've had any emails. No texts. Checking the email here to see if anything. Nope. So that's okay. I know that everybody doesn't have a question every time. Let me take a look at my notes here real quick and see if there's any other questions that have come up that were asked. Okay, so the other thing is a question was asked this morning. I'll just cover it quickly about battery devices or plugged-in devices with regard to Federal Equestrian International. The current ruling talks about how much Gauss can be delivered for a PEMF device. There are many devices, cooling devices, other PEMF low-power devices that are in fact plugged in. It doesn't deal with whether or not they have to be battery operated to be used in the FEI. They just talk about the maximum amount of Gauss that can be delivered. If you have a question about that, give me a call. We can talk about it and answer any questions that you may have. Let's see here. Here's a question. Let me take a look at it. Anyone know if I can treat a 10-week-old puppy? Well, certainly you would want to treat the puppy on very low. I don't know you might tell us what the indication is, what you're dealing with in treating the puppy, but if you're looking, if good oxygenated blood flow will be of benefit to the puppy, then, or for the whatever it is you're dealing with, then certainly you can treat. The age, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to treat it every day. I mean, there's been discussion about growth platelets and that whole subject of conversation. And I wouldn't say that you want to take a 10-week-old puppy or an infant or whatever, or full, and treat it every day for 30, 45 minutes every day. I wouldn't recommend that for anything, and that would certainly be a question if there's some kind of issue going on there with an infant puppy or whatever it may be, certainly you want to be in consultation with your veterinarian to tell them what you're doing and what you're dealing with and get their input on what you want to do to aid with the health and wellness of that puppy. But if you're in a situation that it's not well and it needs a little encouragement of energy and improved blood flow, then certainly after referring with your proper medical people, your veterinarian or so forth, there's nothing contraindicated to tell you that you cannot treat a puppy or you're going to do damage to a puppy. A young puppy at that point. I'm a little curious as to what the situation may be, so if you'd be so kind to maybe to share that in the questions or in the comment section, I'd be happy to address it. We have another question here from Jason. Mr. Pat, when getting stifle injections, could a practitioner still MagnaWave the back and shoulders, etc.? Just stay away from the injection site. Most certainly, Jason. Thanks for being with us. As I was pointing out this morning, very similar question was asked. If you're not treating the site of the injection and you're treating the upper body and you're improving the blood flow and you're improving the oxygenation in that area, you're going to help the general well-being of the animal. And so you're not treating it in a fashion to go right over the area of injection. And if it's a muscular injection, you don't want to treat the area and maybe disseminate it. You want it to be able to be in the area and get its full value of injection. To improve the blood flow of the body is not going to flush that. So most certainly, if they're injecting, like you said, the stifle area, if you want to treat the head, neck, shoulders, back area, you're fine. It should not do anything to cause any disruption for what may be the doctors may be dealing with at that point. Great question. Thanks for asking, Jason. It's always good to hear from you. So whatever questions you may have, folks, just simply let me know what they are, and we'd be happy to address them. Whether that deals with machines, training, protocols, FEI, FDA, whatever it may be, just put it out there, and we'd be happy to answer it. The whole purpose of this is, just to give folks an opportunity to have their questions answered. I remember when I was in college, I'd often, if I had an issue or something I needed to talk about, the professors would have office hours, and I'd go visit with them. And so there you have it. And so I thought that this would be a good way to be able to be here on a regular basis for folks to come in and have their questions answered. If you'd like to call, please feel free to give me a ring and we can chat a little bit. That'd be okay. And if you'd like to send an email, because if you don't want your name posted, send me an email and I'd be happy to answer the questions. Let me see if I've got anything that's kind of been floating around. I did get a question just a little bit ago. Person was talking. They have a member of their family who's having some issues with tumors, brain cancer, if you will, and they were using various devices. They were using Dr. Dennis's what we call the MagnaWave LP to help inflammation and to help relieve pain at the beginning, and they also use the semi device for what they're doing. And they asked if the Optune machine or the Optune device, what is the difference between the Optune and the semi machine, or what we're doing. Well, the Optune is a relatively new device that's being used specifically pretty much for glioblastoma of the brain tumors, and they have found very good results with this. In fact, I was at a basketball game Saturday afternoon in southern Indiana, and I rode the elevator down from the upper level of the arena with a young man who is wearing an Optune device. It looks like a netting. It's a white netting, and it covers, you put it on much like a sock cap. And in fact, it looked like a sock cap, but then it's got the little coils all about. And I've not looked close enough to see if they can position the coils in certain areas, or if it's just a sock cap that you basically put on, and it's got a little thing much like the LP device that you then wear on your belt or whatever that powers this, and you wear it for several hours, if not all day. So it is a low power, low voltage, low frequency device that is delivering this magnetic field or this magnetic energy into the head to hopefully control, reduce, eliminate the tumor growth and the progression of the tumors. They've had very good success. I was telling you about the young man I met on the elevator on Saturday, and he's been wearing his device since June. He's had this device since June. He looked great. He was talking fine, moving fine, walking around, heading to the concession stand. And I knew what the device was, and I asked him how long he had been wearing it, and he had told me, and since June. And he's saying he's getting fantastic results. And like anything, it's a very, you never know, depending on what's going on. Glioblastoma is a horrible form. It's a horrible affliction, disease, of cancerous state that is typically people do not have a lot of success with. But this young man, a very robust young man, hadn't lost any weight or anything like that, doing very well. And those are the kind of responses that they're seeing with this PEMF device that actually helps control, reduce, and maybe in some cases eradicate these tumors. And we've seen a lot of tumor reduction in animals with our devices as people use them to help control tumor. In fact, Elaine has a dog and that had a tumor, developed a tumor on its neck, and it got to be about the size of a baseball. And she went back to the veterinarian and had it checked, and they said, "Oh my gosh, and yeah, this is a bad deal, and we got to cut it off, and we need to do a biopsy and see if it's malignant or whatever it is." And so they did the biopsy, and they said, "You need to come back and see us in a couple of weeks, and we're going to try to remove that and not have any issues with your dog." And Elaine went right home and began treating her dog, Ella's her name, and daily, twice a day. And when she went back to the veterinarian, the tumor had reduced to the size of about a quarter, or a marble, and they were beside themselves that what happened, what'd you do? And of course she told them what she did, and they kind of looked at her, dumbfounded in some cases, but because a lot of people is just learning about what's going on, and they were able to extract. They still did the surgery, remove the growth and the tumor, and this is, gosh, maybe 2 years ago now. And Ella's at our house this week, doing great, and she's also got very serious hip dysplasia, which you hardly notice at all anymore because she gets regular treatments with the MagnaWave for her hip dysplasia. But we've seen a lot of tumor reduction like that in animals, and certainly hope for cancer, and various cancer treatment facilities around the world outside of the United States in many cases utilize PEMF therapy in their practices and in their routines very regularly. Now, I'm not saying anything about, well, we don't treat conditions. We simply go in and help the body better be positioned to work with itself. We help the body set it up so it can maybe get better oxygenation of its blood cells and better blood flow, which can, as I've said just shortly ago, work miracles. So the difference between the Optune and our semi machine or the LP machine, they'd probably be very similar to the LP machine. And now the Optune is an FDA cleared device, so I'm sure they have proprietary methods as how they set up their waves and what they did for their testing and their studies, and that's what they got FDA approved, and that's what they hang their hat on, that it does a good job. And when you get right down to it, it's PEMF therapy. They have their proprietary manners, which I would not take anything away from. And when you compare that to the semi machine, which is a high power, low frequency device that is controllable for low, medium, and high settings, there may be some value to the strength of the semi in some cases, but certainly the Optune is a fine device. And it needs to be worn for long periods of time, like I was saying, whereas our devices are designed for shorter treatment times. But I'm not trying to make any comparison or any correlation thereof. We've just asked the question, what is the difference? The Optune is a low voltage, low frequency device. that you wear for extended periods of time. The semi is a high voltage, low frequency device that has much shorter treatment times for blood oxygenation and blood flow. And then the miracles that can occur as a result, or miracles, or whatever can happen. It's not magic. We're not treating anything. We're not saying it's going to work. Just good oxygenated blood can do a lot of good stuff. Okay, let's see. We do have a question. Let me pull that up here and take a look so we can see it. Question from Kimberly Dawn. I'm interested in training. How do I get started? Well, great question. Well, all you need to do is contact the office, Kimberly, and we can see what your interests are. If you have a machine, then the training is easy to get started with. Most of the training is online. We do offer hands-on training. In fact, we've got some exciting news coming about some new facilities that we might be moving into that's going to have a large training area, so we'll be able to accommodate many people at one time for inside, sit-down training types of sessions. But basically, the training follows as when someone gets involved with our devices, then training is part of it. Training is there to be provided. So just if you've put your name into our system and one of our representatives has contacted you, just tell them, ask them about the training, and we can tell you about it. But as I said, the training is online. It's a series of videos and testing assessments that you take to complete the training. There is training in human, small animal, and equine usage. Basically, the training was originally started so we were all on the same page. I mean, it was amazing 10, 12 years ago when you talk to somebody and someone would describe something. I mean, the number one comparison we get is people say, well, is this like a TENS unit? And so, no, it's not a TENS unit. It does this. It is PEMF therapy. Well, what's PEMF therapy? And you might hear it described in many different ways. So the training was originally established to have same terminology, same understanding of how the devices work, same understanding of how we approached different indications, so we knew, which loops to use here, which loops to use there was now we're getting into much more as we've done some studies, and we can talk about, we've done 3 studies that MagnaWave has helped fund using our devices. A lot of the devices that are out there they'll pull from studies, the NASA study and many other studies that are available and that have been done with PEMF, and they'll talk about PEMF to this, and so our device with PEMF. We have actually performed studies that are published in various journals with our equipment. So we can definitively say this equipment was used to treat this lumbar problem, this knee problem, this prostate issue with inflammation and prostate disease. And so we've done those studies, funded those studies, published those studies, and we've got more that we're going to do for submittal to the FDA to hopefully achieve clearance for our digital devices coming down the road. So that's always in our training. We get into that, and we're talking about those levels. We really want to take our training, and I want to really kind of address that for just a moment. I wouldn't say that anyone, if you want to become a massage therapist, there's massage therapy facilities and training facilities. There's several of them for human use in Louisville. But for when you start dealing with small animals or equine or whatever it is, there's training all over the country. In all of the schools, I've not seen one that was not a good place to achieve good learning about what you want to do, whether it's massage or acupuncture or whatever it may be, craniofacial work or anything like that. There's plenty of places to receive good training. So I'm not going to throw anybody's training under the bus, but we work very hard from the beginning. I can say, I think, that when we started with our training in this area of high voltage PEMF, we were really one of the first ones to offer training, to offer testing, to step out. There were some folks that had training, but it was, here's how it works and here's what you do, and that's fine. But we really wanted to try to take it to the next level so people can really understand and learn and share what they're doing. And so that's where we've kind of taken that. But again, it's online. We do have hands-on available. We will have more stuff in our new training facility so people can come in larger groups and have some real learning from that. If we're talking about having a full-size horse model that will have the muscles on it, so we can talk about muscle and bone and that whole thing right in a classroom situation, full-size small animal full-size human type of mannequin, if you will, that we can demonstrate and show what would happen with various areas of the body. So that's what we're working on to better move the process along and to actually become better recognized and hopefully at some point in time become accredited, get it to where if people want to take it to a licensing level, they'll be able to. That's probably down the road, but that's various things that we do talk about and look at happening. So, good questions. Thank you for asking, and we certainly want to. And certainly one of the things is we're here to answer your questions. We have a full-time training person on staff. That's Erin Hughes. We have Stephanie Henderson, who is a horsewoman and is in our customer service department, who can answer questions and refer you to various people for answers. I'm certainly here. Been working in the equine world since early 2002, and with PEMF therapy since that time, with various types and levels of PEMF equipment and laser equipment. So my background with that whole thing, respiratory and respiratory transpirator and nebulizer type of equipment over those years, and then certainly supplements with Lubricin since the beginning of Lubricin, and for joint issues dealing with Dr. Allday and Alex Hassinger and all of their fine people to better understand the needs from the equine world. So we've got the experience. What I'm trying to say is we've got the experience here. Joanne Van Horn is a horsewoman, and she's on our staff full time, and we've got all kinds of people who deal with small animals, humans, and large animals here on our staff to best answer the questions that you may have, and that we think that's exciting, and we like to be able to help you with that. Question here just came in via text here. I mean, it's talking about what do you it's easy for me to sit here and talk about what we do and how we do it, and certainly I'm going to promote what we do and how we do it. But the question is, well, what do you think sets you apart? And I think what sets us apart is what I just described to you, the depth, the years of experience that we have in our office, the 500 practitioners that we have out in the field that, that could be easily, if you got 500 practitioners with a year of experience, you got 500 years of experience doing various things. And we've got 500 practitioners, some of them with 30 years of experience, with much more experience than I have with my 18 years or 17 years of experience dealing directly with PEMF and with horses, small animals, and people. So we feel that we're here to answer your questions, and we take the phone calls typically whenever they come to work with you. And I guess I would say the next thing that we feel sets us apart is how we work on our marketing. We want to help you build your business. We want to help you understand what it is you're dealing with. I dare say that if you would ask some other distributors, manufacturers, suppliers, whatever it is, do you advertise for your practitioners so they can maybe get some leads? And I will tell you that we do. And in fact, we've got a new program that we're working on that we spend money on advertising. You can contribute if you desire, but to where it's really starting to work, it's starting to pick up steam with Google and the various places to actually help secure leads and questions for the practitioners in their neighborhood, from people who are near them. And I don't think you'll find many companies that will step up to that. And the other thing that sets us apart, we do carry product liability insurance. We work to safety test our equipment, and many manufacturers and distributors don't do that because it's very expensive to do, and we're committed to trying to provide that level of service. So that's enough of the own horn, but kind of blowing the own horn. Please excuse me. But at any rate, we want to be here to work with you and answer your questions. So do one more chance here. It's been going for about 35 minutes. If you have some questions or something that you'd like to know, or a comparison between MagnaWave PEMF therapy and another type of therapy, quite often it comes up, light therapy, laser therapy. I really consider this PEMF, MagnaWave PEMF, MagnaWaving to be very complementary with many different modalities that are used. You know, if a back rub feels good, a good overall oxygenation of the back will do nothing but enhance a back rub. PEMF, MagnaWave PEMF, is a very relaxing type of treatment. Is it as comfortable as a massage and as relieving as a massage feels? I don't think so. But will it provide similar results? Yes. Will it enhance, for example, help doing body work and things like I've done over the years? My wife loves to have a nice, good, deep back rub. And quite often I will give her a session on her back before I give her a back rub because it loosens her up, it limbers her up, so it's just more viable to give a good back rub. That's why so many chiropractors will take this device and do a session on a horse for 10 minutes before they do their adjustment, and their adjustment is much easier. Not only that, but then to treat after the adjustment will help relieve some of the inflammation that was there prior to the adjustment, so the results last longer. The horse or the person or the animal feels better when they receive that type of complementary positioning of various modalities that can help things be better, feel better, last a long time. Works good, lasts a long time is what I used to always talk about, people, and it does. And if you set it up properly, it can really, and that's another question that I receive. How long do the results last? Well, two things. Number one, the more often you do it, the longer the result will last. So if you're treating a sore shoulder and you treat it right now, it may feel better for an hour the first time. The second time you treat it, it may feel better for 3 or 4 hours. The third time you treat it, it may feel better all day and half the night. And the more times you treat it, the longer it lasts before you need to treat it again. Does that mean you need to come back and have 10 sessions to get it to last for a month? No, it means once you get it to where it will last for a month, and you only need 1 or 2 sessions a month. You don't need 10 sessions to get a month, that type of thing. And so how long will it last depends, number one, how long you've had it, how serious it is. Each person is different. Each small animal is different. Certainly each horse is different. So it may take more treatments on this animal than it does on this animal. It may take more treatments on this person's back than it will on my back, but you can get to where you're getting the treatment regimen that I use is treat as long as function improves. Thank you, Dr. Jerry. Treat as long as function improves, then treat as often as necessary to maintain the function. If that's once a week before you go play golf, then treat once a week before you play golf. If that's treat once after you play golf to get the pain in your back from all the contortion that comes from playing golf relieved so you feel good for the rest of the week, and then you go back and play golf again and then get your relief. Each person is different, and you apply it accordingly when you're dealing with those types of issues of athletics. Hamstring muscles, hamstring issues. When I was talking with Todd in Tennessee for the football players, hamstring is their most critical issue that they deal with, and his players are in line to get these treatments. They have 3 machines there and to get these treatments dealing with hamstring, backs, whatever the situation may be, but that's their primary issue. And in some horses it's the feet and legs. Jumping horses, all the concussion that they take on their feet is a big issue. Barrel horses, I mean, the way they turn and the contortion and the pressures that they put on. Race horses, you know, all their movement is in the back, and their front legs are not as, you know, it's just amazing the different pressures and how it affects different animals and different people, athletes when they're going. It was really an eye-opener to deal at the PGA merchandise show with golfers and how many of them have low back pain or knees or hips from the contortion, as I call it, to move. And as Woody Blackburn so appropriately pointed out, he said, you know, a lot of the problem is from practice, not from so much playing the tournament, but you're practicing every day. You're practicing for hours a day, and so you're just boom, moving, bending, turning, twisting, and that's where a lot of the stuff comes from. And so if you treat regularly to keep that at bay, then you're better when it's time to go play. Keep it at bay so you can go play. There you have it. Okay, so we've been going. I don't see any other questions up at this point in time. I want to thank you for being with us. I also want a couple of quick little things here. The MagnaWave Wellness webinar this Thursday. My guest will be Alex Hassinger from Luberson. Alex and I have been friends since I was able to be with Luberson at the beginning of their business. And Alex is a great guy and will certainly bring a lot of information to the table with the differences between Luberson for animals and Luberson for people. We'll be talking about their topical spray for open wounds and wound healing. And then it'll be a great webinar. So if you've not registered, go to the MagnaWave page, register for the webinar, and come join us, ask your questions, learn more. The next Thursday, we're back. I was wrong this morning when I was talking about it. The next Thursday, on the 15th, we'll be dealing with the HydroWave water and answering questions about the HydroWave and how it's used. I believe at this point, Victoria Albright from the manufacturer of our HydroWave water will be with us answering questions and discussing how it's used in a lot of doctors' offices and how they're bringing it to their patients and the results and how they're seeing things being improved as they're using it. And then the following week, I would guess that would be the last Thursday in February, will be Max Champy is our plan from the C60. C60 is a product that improves the telomeres of the body and that telomeres is where you can tell what your age is of your body and how it's set up to age gracefully and hopefully not age as rapidly or age as much. And that'll be the C60 discussion that we'll be having at the end of the month. And then we have other topics. We want to hope to talk with Dr. Tony Jimenez from Hope for Cancer about how they apply PEMF into their work at Hope for Cancer and among the other things that they do through their treatment regimen. So that should be a very good program as well. So a lot going on with the MagnaWave Wellness webinars on Thursdays at 2 o'clock. Please tune in and join us for that. If you have questions that you'd like for me to cover here, please send me an email at magnawave1@gmail.com. If you've got a topic that you'd like for us to cover, do the same. Send me an email, magnawave1@gmail.com or Pat Zemer at MagnaWave PEMF, and we'll put a program together to address the topic that you would like to see us cover as we do that and bring these webinars and these Tuesday programs to you. So again, thanks for being with me today. It's always fun. Always look forward to answering your questions and spending some time together. So it's time to move on to some other projects this afternoon. Thanks for being with me. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.